Black who's going to go for it. Black for the 1 point to win the grand final for Halifax, and he's done it. Ben Black strikes.
Hello, good evening and welcome to the Fax of Life, your Halifax Rugby League podcast. My name's Rick Farrell and I'm joined this evening in an unknown location by lifelong Fax fan Paul Farrell, aka me dad. Say hello, Paps.
Hi, happy to be here.
And in the studio this evening we have a very special guest. He's a reggae warrior, the lad with the silky footwork, the smooth moves at the back, James Woodburn-Hall. How are you, James?
I'm well, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thanks for coming on the show.
Pleasure.
So without further ado, we're going to get into another hour of rugby league debate. Here we go, guys. So James, another pre-season under your belt. How's it gone?
I'm happy to see the back end of it, to be honest. Pre-season's always the hardest point of the season for me. I'm glad. I'm looking forward to the season to get involved now. Lots
of hills, and I think Rich's motto for this pre-season has been hills and skills. I've seen you doing the hills at Shibden. Is that something you relish every year?
Every Sunday morning at 8 a.m. Yeah. Well, it's just something you got to do, innit, really. Like, I've been fortunate enough to pull an injury, you know what I mean, and get fit for the right time. But
it's all in
it's all in the bank, isn't it? And
that's it. It gets us fighting fit and ready to go for the season. So we're gonna, like I said, thank you very much for coming on the show. We're gonna get into your career a bit. We're gonna discuss your time at London, how you got involved in rugby league, and your time at Fax. Just want to give us a quick breakdown on how it is you actually got into the sport of rugby league in the first place.
Yeah, so I started as a kid in year 7. I grew up always playing football.
Yeah.
Football was my love, you know what I mean? I think most kids, well, from London anyway, football was the main sport. And then when I went to secondary school, rugby league was just part of our curriculum, and our school actually had like a partnership which was what was Harlequins Rugby League before they actually went back to London Broncos. And a PE teacher of mine actually coached down there, like coached on the scholarship scheme and the academies. So yeah, from year 7 onwards, I just ended up playing.
So it was a natural
league.
progression then.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that's something that's missing in a lot of school curriculums these days, is the option of rugby league. Do you think without that you probably wouldn't have been involved in the game? You'd have probably played a different sport.
I never would have played it. Like our school strangely enough, didn't offer any rugby union, and I don't think I'd have played any rugby if I hadn't done it at school. 100%, I'd have still been playing football.
It's a scary thought, really, isn't it? But obviously. We're very glad that you decided to take up the mantle. So like I said, I did a bit of research on yourself. I noticed you were born in Isleworth, West London, which is near Hounslow. It's 4 miles from the Stoop, so you always had that locality to the Broncos camp, didn't you? Is that did that make it easier for you to get involved in the youth system at London? How did you end up getting involved in that system?
Definitely, yeah. Again, the system, I only ended up getting involved in the system. I remember going to watch my first rugby game, and they weren't actually playing at the Stoop. They were still playing at Griffin Park, which is where Brentford Football Club play. Yeah, and as I say, I went in school, got involved, and I started to enjoy it. I thought, yeah, this is brilliant. I'm loving this. Went down to my local amateur side because I've got a pretty decent amateur set up around there.
Yeah, it's
got involved there
as well.
Yeah, so I used to train on a Saturday morning for my football club and then play rugby in the afternoon. And got involved there, and we had what's called the Origin scheme. So it's similar to what, like, Yorkshire versus Lancashire or whatever. It'd be the north side of London versus the south side of London down fantastic. There. And then they pick players from there off the back of that. And the first few years I never actually made it. And then I think I got to about year 9 and I shot up a bit, and I had a bit of size on me now. And I managed to get on the scholarship scheme and never looked back from there really at Harlequins. So.
That's fantastic, and obviously, like you said, they then changed the name to London Broncos. They've moved around a bit. You actually you came through the system all the way through right up to first team. I noticed you made your Super League debut at 18. Was that a daunting experience for you?
Massively. Like, I look back and it was a great experience. I never take it back, but I look back and I think sometimes I just weren't ready. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and it put me off a bit of the sport. You know what I mean? Like, before I moved up here, and I kind of fell out of love with the sport. And yeah, it was tough. I weren't ready at that age. I was enjoying my academy rugby, which was brilliant. And you know what I mean? Because you're playing with your mates then. It's just like playing with your amateur side at academy. But when you make that step up and you realise there's so much pressure on your shoulders then, And at 18 years old, it was a big step for me. And I look back, I think, well, maybe another year I needed before I actually did that.
And against a star-studded opponent in Warrington as well. What was the situation that led to you actually being called up to make your debut?
It's a funny story, actually.
Oh, we're all about funny stories on here. Keep them coming.
So it's a Friday night. I'm out in a place called Windsor. Gone out. So we ventured out a bit. Our local area where we go out is in Kingston, but we thought we'd venture out to Windsor. You know, some new women, some new girls,
new scene,
different atmosphere, new scene, like you say. And I'm actually just about to have a Jaeger bomb, shot a Jaeger bomb. And I get a phone call. I think he's ringing me. It's bloody 1 a.m. now. He's ringing me now. I see my coach, James Massara, ringing me. What are you doing? Well, you give us weekend off. All lads are out.
Yeah.
Get on now. You're training tomorrow. You know what I mean? With first team. I'm thinking, you what? And I'd had a few sessions with first team.
I was going to say, had you been training with the first team?
Yeah, just the odd one here and there. Because I was still doing my A levels at the time. And it's Friday night. Oh yeah, you're in. Cause it was Easter weekend, so they played the Friday.
Right.
I think they played Catalan, and Luke Dawn, who was still at London, had got injured. So I said, oh yeah, get home. You're training tomorrow. You're training Sunday. I think you're gonna be in against Warrington. I said, you what? I'm half cut here. You know what I mean? What are you trying to do to me? And so I turned up to training the next day. Tony Ray was the coach at the time. Says, you start half back on Monday. And I think I shit myself. You know what I mean?
I was going to say, it must be a daunting experience, but at the same time, you must have been excited. I mean, it's what you play the game for, to finally get to the top level. You know?
Yeah, you just think, wow, like this is why I've been playing for the last 4 or 5 years. You know what I mean? This is what I've been working. This is why I'll run up the bloody hills. You know what I mean? To get me shot, to get me a gig, and to actually go out there and play. Like, and I think I was lining up. The first tackle I made was on Ben Westwood, who was a legend of the game. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I think they did it on purpose. You know what I mean? Just break me in a bit.
Yeah, give the new fella a bit of stick.
Can I just ask you in which position you were playing when you made your debut, and how comfortable did you feel?
I made my debut at half back. So I played half back. I actually played hooker up until I was 16.
Oh yeah.
And then I signed my first contract for under 18s, and they moved me into half back, and I played half back ever since.
Was that because you had a certain attribute that they reckon was more suited to that position?
Just I had a running game really, and I was never a half back. I played half back at my amateur side, but you know what I mean. Like it's weren't serious, and then whenever I played on scholarship, I was either a hooker or centre, and I've kind of fallen into a trap. Even when I was younger, I understood the game. I can play anywhere. You know what I mean? So, which is it's a blessing and it's a curse in disguise sometimes, because you can't nail down a position.
Of course.
And then when I did go into under 18s, I played half back, and I always played half back all the way through, and then until my final year at London, where they started playing me in centre again, and and ever since then I've been all over the place now. You know what I mean?
That's it. It's what makes you versatile and makes you such a gem to have in any team squad, really, isn't it? So, it says, according to my research, I'm big into my research, you made 13 Super League appearances before during your time at London. Why did that time at London come to an end? What happened for that to fizzle out?
Well, so it's strange circumstances, really. Like that year, I think it was 2013, 2014.
Yeah.
I'd just finished my A levels the year before, and I'd deferred my uni place at University of Leeds. So, and I was like, I'm probably not going to end up going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just signed another 2-year contract before I left, actually, and
that was going to be your career path.
Yeah, and then my dad passed away in.
Sorry to hear that, mate.
I think it was around May, and I just started thinking, like, what am I doing with myself? Really? You know what I mean? Like, got to around July, August, when like all the A-level results come out, and I just went, I need to get out of London. You know what I mean? I kind of lost my head a bit. I didn't want to play rugby anymore. Because you know what I mean? When I was a kid, I was playing for my dad. You know what I mean? To make him proud. You kind of lose that. And I think that kind of contributes to me falling out of love with the sport a bit as well.
Yeah,
because
it's understandable. It's one of those things, a personal tragedy like that makes you reassess life, doesn't it? Not just sport or hobbies or interests.
So I spoke to my agent. I spoke to Joey Grimer, who was the coach at the time. And he was really good about it. I said to him, look, I don't think this is for me at the moment. You know what I mean? I've got my place at uni.
Did you get support through the club then? Because obviously there's been a big talk since Tony Adams came in as the chairman of the RFL.
So
all the systems, were the systems in place back then?
Not so much the systems. John Keys. So do you know Joe Keys at Bradford? His dad
that's
was.
right.
I don't know if he had a position at the club at the time, but he was always in and around. Even when we was at scholarship and academy, always in and around the lads. And he's always a good bloke. And he came round to my house. You know what I mean? And looked after me. Looked after my brother for a bit. Took us out for some food.
Yeah.
Him and his wife. And yeah, he's always been a good bloke. I mean, he lives in Halifax now, John.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, he's a guy that I've got a lot of time for, and he really looked out for me in a tough time.
Of course, yeah, it's totally understandable, and it's always good to have that family feel about it. Excuse me. Do you think do you believe you would have struggled more had you been, because you were a London lad playing in London? Obviously, it's not a traditional heartland, although it is getting that way now. You know, you have like a lot of northern lads that go down there. You know, maybe leave the families up north and whatnot. Do you think it could have been worse? I mean, I don't want to wish ill on anyone, but do you think it would have been worse had you been away from home, somewhere that was unfamiliar to you? Or do you think because you were a London lad, you know, you maybe coped a bit better, or, you know?
In terms of, what do you mean?
You know, like, basically, if you're exiled away from your family and everything, it's a dark time for everyone, and then, you know, you go... If you wanted to move to Leeds to sort of get out of your comfort zone, change of scenery.
Like I weren't living at home anyway at that time. I moved out, so I'd moved out just before I turned 19. I moved out of my house, and but I weren't far. You know what I mean? I was just the other side of London, because London Broncos had moved to North London, as opposed from the Stoop, and yeah, I just kind of wanted to get. London's a busy city, and I just wanted a fresh start, really, and that's why I come up to Leeds for uni. And I don't regret that one bit. I had a bloody good time at university, you know what I mean? So, especially in my first year.
Well, we're going to move on to that, obviously. During your time at London, you made some Super League appearances. You then went to Leeds Uni and ended up being a staple of the Leeds Beckett team, I believe, and then obviously went on to be an international at university level, and a bit of a poster boy, if I do say, as I was saying to you off air. How did you find that experience of playing universities rugby compared to academy at London? And obviously it's a different level to Super League as well. How did you find that experience?
Oh, it was brilliant. That's where I attribute that mainly to me becoming back in the sport. You know what I mean? Like, I fell in love with it again because of the social side as well. I made some good mates. I went to Leeds Uni, and I mean, we weren't the best team. We were in Division 1 in my first year, got promoted. Yeah. And we had a few good lads in the team, a few like names like Jack Bladbury, who's at York now, Jacob Morgan, who played a few for Batley a couple of times, George Milton, who's at Bradford now. You know, I mean, we had some good players on the team, but it was a social side. After, I mean, you play on a Wednesday afternoon, you go out after, have a few beers. And I was
less pressure as well.
Yeah, I wasn't playing for money. I wasn't playing for. I was playing just because I was playing with my mates. You know what I mean?
Playing for the love of the game.
Exactly, and that's what it was, and it was brilliant. And then, moving on, I managed to get in the England squad in my first year actually, and I couldn't do it properly in my first year for some reason. I went to Dublin for that England tour, but in my second and third year, we obviously went out to Australia in my third, and that was again a great experience. And
did you play against the rep size down there? Oh no, it was the Student World Cup.
Yeah, it was the Student World Cup. Yeah, so we played Australia in our first game. Got pumped.
That's not what you want to hear.
Not what we want to hear. Got off the plane and just thought, wow, we've come here to get dicked. And we had a great trip. You know what I mean? Got to sightsee in Sydney, and it's always been on the bucket list to go to Australia. So that was amazing.
And was Harry with you? Harry Kidd?
Harry Kiddie was there. He was at Gloucester at the time, and we became like best of friends off the back of that trip. You know what I mean? And he says to me, he was speaking to Rich at the time as well, and I was just like, mate, it's a great club. Get yourself up here if you can. It's a great opportunity for you. It's a step up. You'll learn a lot more. And he had a really good tour as well. He was one of standout players. So it was a great move for him.
And obviously, it's good to have someone that you know each other's games, having played together at previous clubs. And I think Harry will go this year. Obviously, he had the disappointment of his injury last year. I bet he's absolutely raring to go, isn't he?
Mate, he's got so much energy and he's so excited. Whenever I talk to him, you know what I mean, he's on about, how do you think I went? He's always asking me, like, critique his performance. Even the other day, bless him, he got knocked out, didn't he? Or he got head injury the other day. Just like, it was alright though when I was playing, you know what I mean? He just wants to do well. He's so excited to get on the pitch and put that Fax shirt on every time. It means a lot to him, you know what I mean? Because he's had that whole year.
Well, the thing that stood out to the supporters most, obviously, we've been supporting the club a long time, as have a lot of other supporters, and we've seen players come and go, but not once have I seen someone that's had that much enthusiasm. You know, he gets injured 2 or 3 sessions into the year. He could have sulked, he could have gone away, he could have only turned up on game days. No, he were coming to functions, he were at training, geeing the lads up, and you know, it's a great thing to see, and I think he'll be a real asset this year. Yeah,
he's a little gobshite, isn't he? Don't stop bloody talking, does he? He's the loudest man you'll ever know. But yeah,
what, like louder than Morel?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You've heard that's a Fax of Life exclusive. You've heard that here first. The loudest man in the Fax team, Harry Kidd. So yeah, you obviously you played in the World Cup at student level. How did it come about that you ended up being involved with Halifax? Because you signed as a reserve initially, I believe, but the development to join the first team must have been
well, in my first year, I played at Hemel after my first year, because I needed a bit of money, and they were like, "Oh yeah, just come down. It's a steady gig. You don't have to train. Just you play matches on a weekend. You know what I mean?" And then I was on a scholarship at Leeds Uni, and the guy who ran my scholarship got in touch with Martin Gonzo.
Oh yeah.
And says, "Oh yeah, they're looking for players. You know what I mean? They're keen. Go down, have a training session." I spoke to Gonzo, come down to reserves, train. Grixie was coach at the time.
Yeah.
And obviously Grixie had played it when I made my debut as well, and so I knew who he was, and yeah, played that whole season in reserves apart from towards the end, and then got fortunate enough to make my debut against Swinton, which was, I mean, I think we won in the end, but
I think so. Yeah, we always seem to make hard work of it at Swinton.
Well, I started at fullback, and I think who got injured? Bennington got injured, so I ended up just playing the rest of the game on the wing. So I was a bit gutted for, like, you know what I mean, your first.
Yeah, you get your shot, and then it's at an unfamiliar position. But so obviously you came through the reserves. Did you always back your ability to be able to step straight up into the first team and make a go of it?
Yeah, 100%. Like, it was a bit humbling playing in reserves for me, because you know what I mean, I'd played Super League before, and I'd played at London, and to be put in the reserves, I just kind of thought, wait a minute, like, I've played at this level, you know what I mean? How come I'm playing in reserves here? But it was a bit of a reality check as well, to say, like, I was only 19 years old, and I didn't make any demands or anything, but I kind of thought of myself as this player that should be just going straight into the first team anyway. So it was really, really humbling for me, and I enjoyed my time there. And like, Gonzo as a coach was really good. So,
and obviously Stevie's involved, Steve Greenwood.
Yeah, Stevie's a great bloke as well. Yeah, I've got a lot of time for Stevie.
Yeah, they do fantastic work, and obviously they're massively involved in the first team squad as well. They're two of the unsung heroes of our club, in my opinion.
100%, yeah.
So then, like you say, you made your first team debut, lived our dreams. You know, most of the Fax fans have only ever had one dream, that's to pull on that shirt. You got to do it Swinton away. What are your memories of that first game at Swinton?
Bad. I threw a cut-out pass that got intercepted, and player went length for the field. That's about it, really.
Not the best way to announce yourself, then.
No, it weren't, no. But, I mean, I bounced back, because I then played the final 2 games of the season. I scored 5 tries in the 2 games. So
including a memorable one. I believe it was against Workington, where just before the end of the half, where we put a move on straight from the kick-off, and you finished off a fantastic kick through.
Well, I just had to fall over, but
well, you have to get there to be able to jump on it and whatnot. So, and then, I mean, I'm going to lay this on you. I've had this discussion with a few fans, and obviously Mike Haig, friend of the show, fantastic bloke, comes on. We've had a few debates about this. We made so obviously the 8s came in. We made the top 4 the first year, missed out the second year, and then subsequently made it the last 2 years in its inception. The fact that we didn't make the 8s the second year probably helped us make it the next 2 years, because lads like yourself, like Chesney, like Brandon Moore, lads that were sort of on the cusp of the first team but reserve players, actually got a chance to play first team level, because it was like, well, we've not made the 8s, no one was really bothered about the Championship Shield, excuse me, so it gave Rich Marshall a chance to put you in and see what you could do in a sink and swim kind of environment without all that pressure on. So what do you think of that assessment? Do you think that's a fair call?
Yeah, I think that's fair. Like, had we made the 8s, I might not have got. Sorry, had we made the 8s, I may not have been able to make my debut. You know what I mean? And players like Pudgy, who's like first name on a team sheet, may not have played either. So it was a bit of a blessing in disguise, like you say.
Absolutely.
You know, obviously you want to succeed, you want to make the 8s, but we made the best out of. You know what I mean? Like, I'm hopefully this year again playing regular first team now, so I think it was it was, I wouldn't say it was a positive thing, but we made the best out of it.
Yeah, it was the best of a bad situation. I'll totally agree with that. So obviously, you're a bona fide member of the Fax first team squad currently. You've had a change in number, I noticed. When we were discussing off air, you've sort of, I think you started at like number 30 and then you went up to...
Yeah, I think I was 28 were London. I think I was 20... No, it might have been 28. No, 32, wasn't it? 32. And I think it went to 22 and then 16.
And then 16, but you've actually moved down the order to 23 now, but you were telling me there is a bit of a tale behind that?
Yeah, no, it's just my old man's birthday, the 23rd of December, so I just thought I'd go for 23, and I actually wanted it a few years ago when I got, I think it was 22 shirt, but Rob Warrancy had 23 on his back, you know what I mean? He asked for it as well, because it's his daughter's birthday date, I think, and so... him being a senior player got preference, didn't he?
Yeah, he's a bit of a legend, is Rob, having won a grand final, but top bloke as well. I personally thought it was I mean, you've said before about your love of basketball. I thought it was a Michael Jordan thing.
Well, yeah, there's a bit of that in that as well, you know. But
I think it's one of those things, isn't it? We were talking on the journey over about, obviously, you're a very versatile player. You've got a lot of different skill sets. You can play in a number of positions. You may aim to nail one position down. I want to ask you bluntly, where do you see yourself playing in the Fax team this year?
If I'm honest, I couldn't tell you. The quality we've got in this squad now is tough, and week in, week out, like, if lads aren't performing, you won't be playing. So you got to perform to get your spot. So I have no idea where I could be playing. I mean, I spent the whole of pre-season playing at half-back, but obviously Scotty's been injured.
Yeah.
We've still got Jono to come back. Whitey's a class player. Full-back, I like playing, but then you got QLT, class player. Sharpie can put a shot at full-back. Salty if necessary. Even Jono could go back there. Whitey could go there. So, I mean, anywhere. And then you got the centre. I could play centre position as well, but... I couldn't tell you. I honestly couldn't tell you.
You just called them on, you'll play anywhere, basically.
I mean, if someone gets injured, I'll jump in the squad.
Do you believe your versatility might have hampered you really nailing down one key position?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I've always been a half-back. Always been a half-back. I enjoy playing full-back. I'd probably say I'm more of a full-back than a half-back. I'm not... I don't organise enough to probably be a half-back. I'd be a better fullback.
Are you very vocal on the pitch then, or is that something?
I am vocal, but not to the extent like Scott Morrell. You know, like I talk, but I just talk nonsense in the game. You know what I mean? Just like not so much in attack, organising stuff, but in like D, like just which shoulder I'm going to tackle with, who's shot, whose man it is. You know, just little things like that, as opposed to, oh yeah, this is where it gets to this point. This is what we want. Blah blah blah. Yeah. I'd rather someone say that, and then I can play off the back of that. You know what I mean? So, which a fullback does out the back.
Of course, yeah. I mean, it's one of those positions nowadays where you've got to cover the most amount of field on every player. You know, if you're attacking left, right, you've got to curl around and make yourself available. So, but having seen you in pre-season, I would agree with the assessment that I really do like you as a fullback. But I think if you need to play half-back or centre, you're not going to let anyone down in any positions.
You'll probably see me at prop at some point.
I think everyone's had a go there at some point in their career, haven't they? Until you get your nose splattered across your face, and then you think twice about it. So we're going to move on. We have got a history maker with us, a bona fide legend reggae warrior. You obviously, we mentioned that you played University International for England, but you were selected this winter to receive full international honours for the Jamaica squad and qualified for the World Cup. How was that experience? It must have been fantastic.
Well, it was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. I think back now and I've got a smile on my face because I had such a good time. I mean, I love going to America. It's one of my favourite countries, and the lads, it was a set of blokes, you know what I mean? Sometimes you go on these trips and you hit a few arseholes and that here and there, but all the lads were dialed in. We all had one goal, you know what I mean, to make the World Cup, and I mean, to go out there and actually do it, you know what I mean? They've been trying for years. It was just my first experience with a squad. I mean,
it's just your magic dust sprinkled on, and that's what.
Well, it wasn't just me. I think there were a few lads that were like Ash Goulding and Ben Jones that were there for like first internationals for Jamaica, and there's lads there that like Lamont Bryant, Joe Brown, people like that have been. They've been doing it for God knows 10 years now, trying to qualify for the World Cup with Jamaica, and to finally do it and to see how much it meant to them, because it meant a lot to me, but to see how much it meant to them, because they've put their heart and soul in, given up time. You know what I mean, a lot of people don't know, but we had to pay for our own flights off the back and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So as a country and as a club, you know what I mean, we wanted it, and to actually go out there and achieve what you want to do, that's what rugby league's about, isn't it?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
And you say you made your debut against the USA in Jacksonville, Florida.
Yeah.
What was the weather like out there? Was it 99?
It weren't too bad. Like I'm alright with like heat changes.
Yeah.
I don't mind. I prefer the heat, you know.
Yeah.
But it was quite windy. I was really surprised actually. So we played on this little pitch, and it was tiny, and there had no stands or anything like that. Sorry, it was tiny and no stands, and you put the ball up and it just whirling around everywhere. Oh god, the wind was terrible.
Well, that's one day you bet you're glad that you didn't play fullback when you were playing.
100%.
I mean, I was telling you a little tale off air about Fax do actually have a link with the University of Jacksonville, having played a game over there back in the 90s. So to see Fax lads in an international team go over there to the same place and make a World Cup, I mean, it's just fantastic. It's a great story. It made a big splash around the world when it was finally sealed and delivered, you know. And I believe there were some videos of schools in Jamaica, like having a march in your honour and all that sort of stuff. Did you get a chance to go to Jamaica?
No, we're on about organising something to do that. I mean, I have been to Jamaica myself.
You've got some heritage.
My granddad still lives out there, so I've been out there to see him before, and I did actually go and try and play some sevens, but I couldn't actually get my passport sorted in time, so I didn't get to play, which was a bit annoying.
A shame.
But I've been. Beautiful country. A lot of poverty. Didn't realise, like, I was a bit ignorant to the amount of poverty there is actually in Jamaica. You know what I mean? You only hear of Montego Bay,
Kingston Town,
like beautiful places, but you actually go to some parts in Kingston or Spanish Town. It's a very poor country, but it's a very beautiful country, you know.
Absolutely, and like you say, it's one of those things to represent your family in that way. It must have been a real honour. Did you get some congratulations calls from your relatives and such when you made it? Were they watching the game?
Yeah, well, my missus' family and all that. Yeah, I got a load of calls. My sister, my aunties, and stuff like that. It was, they were very proud, especially my auntie, because my auntie's like that side of the family, Jamaican side. So they're ecstatic, really, and proud. You know what I mean, to have me as a nephew. So
well, that's it, and you are now down in Jamaica Rugby League history as a member of the first squad ever to make a World Cup. So congratulations for that, and also part of the squad with the best nickname in the world, the Reggae Warriors. That's the best nickname in rugby league by a mile, isn't it?
Yeah.
Can I just ask you, did it get televised in Jamaica at all?
The actual rugby, I think there was a link on Facebook to watch.
Yeah, I believe I
would have
watched
been
it
able to watch it in Jamaica. So, but I don't think it got too much coverage in Jamaica until after we qualified, and then because there were some Jamaican lads that had flown over that were playing with us, and I think they got to do. They enjoyed all the media stuff in Jamaica. I think they made the national news. Because rugby league,
all the breakfast shows and all that sort.
Rugby union's a lot bigger in Jamaica. Like you say, we've got the Sevens side, and they're quite successful as well. They've made the Commonwealth Games. They've played in the Hong Kong Sevens. So to get rugby league out there now in Jamaica as a nationally recognised sport, because it's always netball and football, rugby union, and athletics,
cricket, and the rest of it.
Windies, But rugby league's like, you know what I mean? It's down here. It's like what lacrosse is in this country in Jamaica. You know what I mean? So. It's really good, so we're hoping to grow the game out there.
Of course,
they've got their own amateur league out there as well. So
that's great to hear. And obviously, we were saying as well, you go to this exotic place, you represent an exotic country, you make the World Cup, and where's it held? England, Wales.
I'm holding out. I reckon we'll be based in Hull.
Oh, exotic. Talking about poverty, go to Hull. Pre-season's done, we've said. First game is just around the corner, Widnes away. You must be absolutely banging to get going. How do you see the team going this year?
I can't wait. And, we'll go well. We always do, don't we? Like, it's one of those things, like, we've probably been written off again this year. Wouldn't surprise me. Doesn't bother me.
I think the odds would say, and certainly suggest that.
I'm not a betting, I'm a betting man, but I haven't looked at the rugby league odds, and it's just... I don't look at that sort of thing because we've written off the last 2, 3, 4 years, whatever it is, and where do we come? Fourth, third. Every time we're there, aren't we?
You've got to use it for motivation, surely.
Oh, 100%,
I mean, I expected Rich to print it out and pin it on the dressing room door. You know?
We've had that underdog mentality now for I don't know how long, and we thrive off it. It's Halifax RL, like underdogs. No one does look at teams looking at Bradford and York, and they've come up from League One. Do you know what I mean? Like, we've made it to the playoffs last 2 years in a row. It's a joke that we're not considered as a team that should be pushing for promotion.
And obviously we've signed some big lads in Big Cav obviously QLT and such. So I don't see any reason why we can't kick on. Where do you see the team's strengths? Where do you believe our game really excels? What aspect of the game?
Last few years running, we've been the best or second best defensive team in the league, and that's something we pride ourselves on. Every week, it's one of our goals. I mean, we sit down at the start of the year. What do we want to do? Where do we want to finish? What do we want to be known as? What do we want to be? Best defensive team is always the first one that comes out, because it's Halifax. It's, you know what I mean? It's our pride. You come to the Shea. I think we only lost one game at the Shea last year.
And we were unlucky with that one as well.
Well, two if you
count the playoffs.
Not including the playoffs.
Oh, right,
just
yeah.
We get to Toronto. Like you say, we get that try given before half time against Toronto. It's a different game.
Absolutely. And they really struggled to break us down in that game as well. So
from a fan's point of view, what I'd like to say would be nice if we could start better, so that we're not having to win 4 out of the last 4 games, and just give us a little bit of a breathing space.
It's a longer season as well this year.
Where's the fun in that?
Absolutely. Thanks for piping up, Paul. You've been sat there very patiently, quiet in the corner, waiting your turn.
Where's the fun in that? You don't get your money's worth if you're making it easy, do you?
Yeah, it's nothing like a Halifax heart attack. If we're looking for nicknames for the club, that's one, the heart attacks. I mean, surely you go into every season believing you can win every game, and that's the way every team. I believe at the championship launch yesterday, every team predicted themselves to finish top. Who's the team that you're looking over your shoulder at and thinking that they're the ones we need to knock off their perch? I mean, is it the obvious one? Is it Toronto?
Yeah, they need to. Yeah, obviously. Yeah, I mean, like Toronto, foreign team, you want to beat them. They're like, I mean, they've got every game on Sky this year. I mean, I don't know how I feel about that personally, but Toronto you want to beat. Batley looked really good this year. Yeah. In like their pre-season warm-up games. I don't know how they do it in the league, but I was pleasantly surprised with their performances. Like looking at their scoreboard, and I think Batley will go well this year. I think they'll be a team to watch as well.
Yeah, I think Sheffield are probably a bit of a dark horse this year as well.
They've been under the radar the last couple of years. And
they struggled, didn't they, with the move to full time? They probably squandered the momentum that they'd built.
QRT took the whole budget. You know what I mean?
That's it. Yeah. And obviously they've signed some really big players. The one that no one's talking about, and I can't believe it. I mean, obviously Widnes with their Super League millions coming down and the £500,000 parachute payment. But the one that no one's talking about is Toulouse. Now, for me, I mean, if I was a slightly braver man, I would back Toulouse to finish top of the league. I think they've made some fantastic signings. It's a bit like, had it not been for the fact that every team has to go, or majority of the teams have to go to Canada, and what that entails with the jet lag and such, because the teams travelling to France, you know yourself, it's a tough place to go and get a win. We've only managed it once in the recent times, and
was that another one of the heart attacks? Yeah.
That is the most enjoyable day of watching Fax I've ever had, but at the same time the most nerve-wracking, the most sweat tear inducing. It was balmy, but when we had to win the last 4 games, Bradford, Featherstone and Hull KR, and that was the one where everyone started to believe and the play. I'm not sure if you were.
I was in Australia. Yeah, I got back I think for the Hull KR game.
And that was the one where everyone started to believe that we could do it, and all the players came into the pub with us afterwards. Rich probably won't want to hear this stuff, but it was fantastic, because I was telling someone about this the other day. It was like they all got the little red carpet moment. So they'd come in. I think they were all in the hotel, and because we had a big game against Fev the week after, and they were saying like, let's not go crazy, just have a few beers in the hotel and get some sleep, and we'll fly back to England. And Rich had a few glasses of red wine, and he was like, "Get out of here, you crazy kids! Go and have some fun." So one by one, a taxi of like 2 or 3 lads would pull him one by one right in front of the pub, and Muzz would get out, and he'd be like, "Hey, Scott Morelli's magic," and sing his song. And then the next car would pull up, and Benny Kay had come out, and then the lads that joined up would sing his song. Well, he's got the best celebration ever. Yeah. He loves life, doesn't he? He loves life. Paul, do you want to add something?
I think this season is probably going to be the closest and widespread season that we've seen, because there's such a lot of good teams in there, and you'll find a team like Batley who are more than capable of beating Toronto at home.
Yeah. I believe they beat Lee the year when Lee was supposed to be the big hitters. Yeah.
So I think it's going to be very widespread. I don't think you can write anybody off. And like we proved last year, struggling at home to get a draw with Dewsbury, a team that we're convincingly beaten earlier in the season.
Do you believe that's a mentality thing? Like, because obviously we seem to play well when the chips are down, don't we? When the pressure's on, and if we see a team, I won't say like beneath us, but you might take your eye off the ball a little bit. And
I think we just took the foot off the pedal a little bit, and I think it brought us back to earth. I mean, when you've played a team at home that you've beaten by 40 odd points, it was a big scoring game that we all went to. It sort of brought us back down to earth to say, look, we need to kick and go again.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we did very well.
And obviously, like I said, it's a longer season. There's more cups and everything, so it's all about the squad this year. The team with the best squad, not necessarily the best first team, will do well this year. Obviously, Woody, there's the Challenge Cup to go for. There's the new concept, the 1895 Cup, with both the finals being at Wembley, and then there's the league and obviously a playoff and grand final to go for. What do you think about the new 1895 Cup? I think it's fantastic. Yourself?
I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I don't know what to expect from it. I don't know. I don't know what the process is or how it's going to be run or when the game's going to be played.
The game's not starting until June, so I think the draw's made in May, and we're 3 games away from Wembley. There's 2 midweek, and then a week, and I believe it's 2 midweek, and then 1 weekend fixture for the semi-final, and then you get at least a month planning before the final. So I mean, the lads must have discussed it. You must have talked about it. Is that a goal you're setting for yourselves this year? Again,
it's not something we have looked at because we're quite focused on the league at the moment.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, to play at Wembley against someone like Bradford or Bradford or Fev in the final would be awesome. Yeah. But like you say, it's not drawn until May or June. One step at a time. I think we need to go. We've got a tough start to the season. I think that's where our head's at the moment. You know, building for that, and then when that comes around, we'll switch into cup mode because it's knockout football, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? Fax have notoriously over the years been quite a good sort of trapdoor football team. So I hope that's a characteristic.
I think it might be like you say, when the chips are down. You know what I mean?
We always seem to turn up. It's just one of those things. I mean, that's got to have an influence with the team bonding that we do. I'm forever seeing, even though if you're not training, like Jono and Pudge are out at concerts, or Steve's playing computer games with whoever, and you're all mates, aren't you? So that's great to see. Paul?
Yeah, I think it's with us getting Widnes first up is a perfect time to play them. It's one of those games that a lot of people probably don't give us a chance to win. So we're going there with no real pressure. If we do manage to get a win, it'd be absolutely fantastic. And then I think we play as it Lee the week after.
Yeah.
But even if we don't manage to beat Widnes, we've still it's out of the way, it's gone, and we can then concentrate on not having to go there again in the season. So I think it's a really good time to play them, and we'll see. We don't know what to expect from them. We don't know how they are going to be performing, and also I'd love to be Adzi when he takes the first ball up.
No, yeah, I 100% agree. Like, back end of pre-season, I mean, you could play anyone. You could play a Champ 1 team, and like if they've had a good pre-season, you've had a bad pre-season, you're going to get beaten. So yeah, I think you're 100% right. They've not got a chance to get into their stride, and if they are going to be a really good team this year,
it's a difficult pitch to play on, isn't it, as well? I mean, you actually scored there in the eights, I believe. You scored a decent inside ball try, but it must be scraping of your knees. Somewhere that
it suits me. It suits my game because. Yeah, I mean, I'm not when it's this weather and it's winter and the pitches are soft. It's not my. I'm a summer player. You know what I mean,
it's like a grinding sort of. I get that.
I like fast pitches. I mean, I don't like them for my knees and my ankles and that. But when you're playing, it's good because it's a fast pitch and like you say, it can step. It can. We can get up to speed. But when you're playing in like slush, like you were at Fev last week, you can't do much really.
Yeah, of course. I mean, like you said as well, it is a good time to play. But I think no one's really got an easy ride early doors. I think we played Widnes, Lee, Featherstone and Batley in the first 4 games, with 2 of those being away at Fev and Widnes. So, because from what I understand, you work in blocks of 4. Is that right? In terms of fixtures, you concentrate on 4 fixtures in a row, and you try and. Is that the way you work?
Yeah. So I mean, 4 weeks in a month, 4 games in a month, blocks of 4 set out, target. If you win 3 out of 4, you're doing all right, aren't you? So 75% win rate.
That's what you're aiming for.
And then each week you just build into the game and hope for the best. Really. Hope for the best. You plan. You do your video reviews, you do previews, single things out, and go out to get the win every week.
Absolutely, amen to that. And obviously, a quick word about the fans and how that's been progressing. Obviously, on the show we've had the leader, the founder of the Fax One Supporters Club a few times. Jamie Gray's been on, and we've always been talking to people about the way that the crowd can affect the team on the pitch. How was it? What was it like to play in those games last year where the crowd were absolutely bouncing in that south stand?
Oh, brilliant! I think one game that stands out for me was when we had Fev at home towards the back end of the season. Unreal, like, because I was in that squad at the time and I played in that game, and you know, I think we defended a few sets on our line. You know what I mean? You got fans at the back, and you got BK giving it the old pointy fingers.
Yeah.
It's brilliant because the fans love it as well, and every bit of support we get helps us on the pitch massively, especially when you're loud and vocal. I can't let myself think sometimes. So it's brilliant.
That's fantastic, and obviously with that drum pound, and it's like it puts other teams off, you know.
Yeah,
though, you know,
it is intimidating for other teams, you know, to come there because it's a bit of a fortress share, like we mentioned earlier. So
that's something that we've aimed for many years, in it, to make it a really difficult place to come and play rugby. We might struggle away from home, but it's like, right, we're home now. And I remember an interview with Ben Kay saying, we are home, and no one's you're gonna have to try everything you've got to best us at our place, because this is where we do our business, you know.
Yeah.
And obviously BK is a bit of a legend himself at G'ing the fans up, and obviously Muzzer. I just think it's getting to the point now. I mean, you look at the Leeds Rhinos game in the 8s where we were 28 points down with 20 minutes of the game to go, and their fans were stood there silent moaning, and ours were singing Twist and Shout for an hour. So, you know, it's got to be noticeable, and obviously we encourage anybody out there listening, if you can get down to the Share, support the boys, because they're on the verge of something quite special, in my opinion. Paul?
I think the thing for me that's the most exciting about this season is the strength in depth that we've got. We've got at least 3 players vying for every single position, and you know, if you don't play well, there's a good chance you're not going to get in the team. And players that can play in, you know, so many different positions, whether it be halfback, fullback, centre, wing, hooker. We've got 3 options at hooker. We've got a couple of good options at fullback, same again at halfback, and even in the pack. And then you've got the likes of Chesney, who's an outstanding centre, or can be an outstanding
second
in
row,
the pack.
yeah.
So yeah, I'm very excited that I think that's going to lift every single player, because every one of them wants to play.
I think as well, the thing that goes unmentioned most of the time is when you've got a big squad like that, and I think that's what's helped us with the reserves, is you can train 13 on 13. You know, that's one thing when you're trying to do your lines and you've only got, you know, you're running against 7 or 8 men, it's not the same. That's something that's surely benefited you in training, right, Wood?
Yeah, you can definitely simulate like match situations a bit more. You can kind of, if you're playing someone in particular and you want to,
I would say,
someone to kind of like pretend or
mimic the other
that's
side,
the word, mimic the other side, or mimic a specific player. So it helps massively, especially definitely in prep, and even just, you know what I mean, like you're saying, day-to-day training, you know what I mean, if you're training with 11 people, it's shit, you know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely.
26, sorry, and you got full squad,
and you've got to turn up and perform even at every training session, haven't you? That's the thing.
Exactly, yeah. One bad training session, you could be, you know what I mean, gone.
Absolutely, and that's the thing as well. Like, you look at the structure that we've got, the pathway now from academy to reserves to first team, and then obviously with the women's team as well. It's those reserve players aren't going to get or improve at the same rate as they would playing first team rugby when they're just playing against other, you know, like yourself, for instance. You were saying, like, when you played at uni and you were a bit of a standout player, but you're not going to push yourself to another level by being a standout at a lower level, if you get me.
Yeah, 100%.
So we did a feature. We've got a feature coming in a few weeks, a bit of a preview of the season. But I just want to get your insight. Who should fans be looking at this year? Which member of the Fax squad is about to have a massive year and explode onto the scene? Who would you pump for that?
Oh god, that's a tough question. Obviously Chesney were class last year, wasn't he? And I think he's got a lot more to give this year. Definitely, he's still young yet. I
think it could be his last year with the Fax. I think he's really progressing so much he might outgrow us a bit, you know.
No, yeah, I mean, and that wouldn't be a negative thing.
Absolutely,
you know what I mean? It'd be brilliant for Halifax to have someone like Chesney, who's a local lad, to go on and do bigger,
especially when he was so close to being lost to the game.
Oh, 100%, yeah. Well, Chesney started out of reserves the same time as me, pretty much. You know what I mean? And now he's in the squad, playing well. I'd like to say myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I love that.
think
Back yourself.
I owe it to myself to have a big year. Like I've struggled with injuries last few years, so I really want to have a big year myself. You know, and get some games on. Games back to back under my belt. Who else we got? Who got? Harry Kidd.
Yeah, that's a good one.
You know what I mean, he feels like he's got a lot to prove. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's had that whole year out, so he'll be looking to play well. And
Well, he was so highly rated when we signed him that I think did he get like League One Young Player of the Year or nominated?
Something like that. Yeah.
And he really came. I mean, having seen him in the pre-season game, I remember he saying after the Bradford game that he had to not just dust cobwebs off, but scraping rust off a battleship, you know. But he seems to have power behind him. He runs at the line hard. He's got some skills.
Oh yeah. It won't pull a handbrake on you. You know what I mean? Going at the line, he just won't. Full bastard, you know what I mean? So I think Pudgy will have a big year as well. Yeah, he always does. So yeah.
I think that the one that as well that I've mentioned a few times, I've been bigging him up, and I honestly think he's ready to start. He's Curtis Davis. His distribution from dummy half is on the money, and obviously with you being a halfback, you want that. I think we struggled with that a bit at Bradford. Some of the passing were wayward, and obviously that's just been a bit rusty because training and playing are two completely different things, aren't they? But just his distribution is on the money, and you look at that try that Conor McGrath scored at Fev against Hunslet. I think you put the cut out pass out for him. It was fast as lightning because every ball from the acting half right to the winger was on the money, fast to run onto. He would be my pick for the one to watch this year.
It's a great shout. It's just tough for Kurt. You know what I mean, again, he's another young lad, and I mean, what do you do when you got Ben Kay and Brandon Moore in front of you? Yeah, it's bloody hard. And
they work so well in tangent, don't they? Because obviously BK is absolutely solid in defence, and his enthusiasm is infectious, and then Pudgy is obviously a little sort of like lightning in a bottle, isn't he? Really, so. Yeah.
So as we've got this new season coming up now, we've got a few new rules coming in. Well, like the
just written that down here to ask next. Stealing me questions.
The stop clock and less interchanges. Have you been doing any practice to try and replicate that?
I wouldn't say we've been doing any practice. We've been doing some bloody fitness for the less interchanges. I'll tell you that. Every week I hear, 2 less interchanges. You got to be a fitter team this year, which is right.
It's something we've always been though. To say we're part time, we have outlasted some full time teams. I mean, that is the one person. I don't think he gets anywhere near as much credit as he should. Andy Holyhead.
Yeah.
He's absolutely revolutionised how fit our squad has been since he's come in. So
yeah, he's good in what he does because it's never any like mind-numbing running. You know what I mean? It's all con games and it's fun. You know, well, I use the word fun loosely, but I mean, it's tough, but it works. You know what I mean? What he's doing is obviously works. But in terms of the only thing, I think we've had a word about just when we celebrate. You know what I mean? If other teams knock on that, obviously the shot clock comes on.
Yeah.
But we all run in to celebrate, and you've only got 30 seconds, so you've got to celebrate a bit faster this year. You know what I mean?
Is that something you've worked on in pre-season? Celebrating faster, you know. Yeah. There is one more rule change, isn't there, that's coming, but I'm not sure. The free play rule has gone, so it's now back to a straight advantage at the referee's discretion. So I think that might add a bit to the game, and obviously for players like yourself with the skills, you might be able to take advantage of that with your kicking game and whatnot. So yeah, it's something that we all need to look at. I'm not so sure how the shot clock will work because obviously I believe every Super League club's got a clock, but I don't believe we have one on show. I think it's just at the ground and they use the timekeeper to
quickly going back to the free play. I've watched a lot of games over the last couple of years and it hardly ever comes off. I think I've only ever seen maybe 3 tries that have actually come from a free play, and I think that it's something that people just do because they feel they have to do it, and all it does is it actually slows the game down.
Well, I think that's the reason why.
So I think that's definitely a step forward.
Absolutely. So obviously a big year for the Fax predicted from yourself, Woody. You got a lot of mates around the league. Have you been speaking to any of them with the season in mind? Any sort of banter flying around?
Well, you kind of keep yourself to yourself unless you see lads. But now one of my best mate players over at Bradford. They're pretty confident this year. You know, they're excited back in the Championship.
One another cup that nobody cares about.
Yeah, exactly. They're buzzing for that as well, weren't they?
Yeah.
So I got like mate at York. They're excited as well. But I haven't really spoken much about it. You know what I mean? until you get into the season, you kind of keep yourself to yourself because you don't know what everyone's going to be like, and you just kind of like, we'll just do our
you don't want to put your head on the block.
See where we're at after about 5 games, and then we'll go from there. You know what I mean?
And like I say, it's something that we've probably struggled with over the last couple of years. Is like Paul said earlier, is starting well, hitting the ground running. Is that something that's been talked up in pre-season? Because I believe
it gets talked up every year, but sometimes I don't know. Sometimes it just doesn't happen, And
I think I read somewhere that Rich actually said that our pre-season carries on right up until March. Is that right? That just the way that you do your conditioning and your skills sessions, it doesn't actually finish until.
That would explain a lot. That would explain a lot. Doing fitness after games in middle of February. Yeah, it must do. Because you don't get a lot of time. You know what I mean? We're back in November, and you're playing in February. You're playing at the start of January. You technically pre-season's over when you're playing friendlies, but it's tough to get the training load you want in.
Yeah.
With the games.
And obviously you played internationally as well, so you'd have had even less of a break.
Yeah. Well, I got a bit of extra time off after.
It's understandable, of course.
Yeah. Which was needed.
Yeah.
And so it was good. Yeah.
Well, obviously, you, like I say earlier on, we were talking about your uni international status, and you were obviously playing Fax games and university games. Do you think that might have had something to do with maybe not being able to stay injury free? Would you attribute that to that, or would you just say it's just one of those things? It's just if you're going to get knocked, it's a physical sport,
Yeah, it's a bit of both. Obviously, I was playing a lot, and then I was drinking a lot as well. You know what I mean? I was a bloody student at the end of the day.
Well, that's it.
I mean? So that doesn't help. So. I think I should be alright this year. I've graduated now. I finished my masters.
Yeah, congratulations.
Finished my masters.
Got your master's
Master
degree?
of Science now. So I think I can focus a lot more on rugby.
I'm going to say, plug yourself now. Say anyone that needs strength and conditioning coaching, I'm your man. Because you actually mentioned that you'd done some work with. Was it Halifax Town? You said you'd done some strength work with.
Yeah, I was doing some coaching. I was doing some coaching down at Halifax Town. I've finished that now. I'm interning at Yorkshire Cricket now, so doing all my S&C down there, which is brilliant. I'm really enjoying myself doing that.
Yeah, one of the things I've noticed is what we have got at Halifax is a absolutely amazing team spirit. It's probably as good as any team that I've ever seen. The one thing that slightly worries me, in a good way, is that there's so many people now, after so few places in the team, it's trying to keep that team spirit going when there's probably 2 people that aren't playing when somebody else has got that shirt. How do you think Richard will be able to deal with that and keep everybody happy?
I don't think you'll have to deal with that. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, we're all working towards one goal. That's to get promoted, you know what I mean?
Of course.
Come top of the league, win the playoffs. So if you're not in the squad if you're not playing one week, it's then your job to do what you can to make sure you are playing next week and make your team better. You know what I mean? You haven't got time to sulk.
Yeah.
So your goal is then to make how can I be better so that I can make the team better. So
do you place a big impetus on supporting the lad that's playing in your position
100%.
In your place as well?
Yeah,
definitely.
sure
He's got everything he needs to perform on the day.
Not so much whatever he needs to perform on a day, but you know what I mean.
Words of encouragement.
Yeah. I'm not gonna bring coffee if you ask for a coffee. You know what I mean? No, you got not to play, but you want the best for your teammates. At the end of the day, your same team.
It's one of those, isn't it? We all try and achieve the same dream, and what is it? Team makes the dream work, is it? I think
one team, one dream.
There we go. Something I've asked a load of rugby players, and no one ever gives me an answer or anything like that. What I'm dying, I've thought about a feature on. I used to do some TV work. I want a Mad Monday story. Give me your best Mad Monday story.
Oh God. No, they're a bit all PG. They're all too PG. All too PG.
Maybe some other time. Maybe some other time. You've had some good Mad Mondays over the years, but I think it's one of those things. It's like the Masons. It's inside, see no evil, hear no evil, and if the missus finds out, I work there anyway.
It wasn't me.
Yeah, getting back to this strength in depth that we've got. One of the positions that were not so much a position, but a goal kicker last season, because Tyre was so good. He always seemed to be there. Now when he was injured, we brought in Grady, and I was absolutely amazed at how accurate Grady was.
Yeah, he can kick goals.
Can kick goals. So say Grady and Tyre were both injured. Who else could step up to do that?
like Rick's just mentioned, Flem can kick goals. I can kick goals. Ben White can now kick goals.
Simesy if he gets a game, obviously.
Q could probably kick a goal.
Muzzer, if need be.
I wouldn't let him kick a goal. No, yeah, I think everyone could step up. Yeah, anyone could step up, but yeah, like, Flem probably be next best choice. I mean, he slotted that one from the sideline against Players, didn't they?
Absolutely beautiful. Bend it like Fleming. It made the national news, didn't it?
Yeah, I heard it for the next 2 weeks as well.
It's been wonderful having you, James. We're gonna wrap up there. Thanks very much for coming on, Paul. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
And that's it. Download the podcast. If you'd like to subscribe, you can do so on all the regular channels. If you'd like to get in touch about anything you've heard on the show, any questions for us in the future, you can get in touch at the Fax of Life pod, and on email thefaxoflifepodcast@gmail.com. Would it, Paul? Thanks very much for your time. Once again, we'll see you all later. Thank you very much.